Should I start?
Yeah, go for it.
But you're laughing.
There we go.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
We're so happy to have you with us today.
Are we, though?
Yeah.
What if I'm annoyed that they clicked on this video?
Oh, how dare you click on this video?
All right, guys. I hope you had a great weekend. I remembered my manners this time. Yeah. See, I always blank out at this point, so I'm just going to get right into it. I'm not the best at small talk. So, Polo.
Oh, boy.
I did watch it. Please don't be mad at me. I gave them my click, but not really. Not really. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Meghan feeling snubbed by the Polo scene. So strange for this article to come out when the documentary was released. Really bizarre PR strategy there. I have my theory as to why she did it. And also, third and final topic before our joke of the week. You know how she calls herself a Dolphin investor and she invests in women-owned companies that treat their staff well and they pay them well? Turns out it's just more hot air.
Just like everything she says.
Spot on. So I watched Polo last week, as I said I would in my latest video, The Coward. If you haven't seen it, I will link it up here. The magic of YouTube. I'm pointing to thin air, but when I'm editing and when it's up on YouTube, it's not thin air anymore. So I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I only managed to watch the first episode properly. When I say properly, I watched it on the max speed Netflix allows, which I think was 1.75. Because there was no way I was going to watch that in normal speed. It was even worse. Look, I approach these things with an open mind. I really, truly always do. It was even worse than I expected.
Wow. And that's saying something because the bar's pretty low when it comes to Meghan.
Yeah. I just couldn't, you know. There are some things when you go, oh, I'm just going to sit through this, like Heart of Invictus. I remember I'm just going to grit my teeth and sit through this. And it was doable, possibly because of the veteran angle and I'm military. So there was kind of that connection, even though, to be fair, for Heart of Invictus, the military angle barely featured.
Meghan probably featured more.
Yeah. Actually, did she? I don't remember. I don't think she was barely. No, she was barely there.
Oh, right.
She was barely there.
No, she was there on the actual day.
Yeah, on the actual shows. But speaking of Meghan being barely there, she was also barely there in this one, as was Harry, which was really strange because, yeah, Meghan's the tag-along Polo wife, but Harry's a polo player.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't there. Anyways, let me just quickly give you a rundown of what I remember. It really, really was Jersey Shore-esque. I never watched Jersey Shore, but I do remember it being really pathetic. I'm sorry to anyone who liked it, but I was a kid when it was out, and I was just like, what is this? This is brain rot.
I learned enough through the memes.
Yeah, the memes too.
Oh, the memes told me everything I needed to know about that show.
Yeah, it was that era's TikTok. No, I shouldn't insult people who like TikTok. No offense. Look, we're all different, okay? We have different folks, different strokes. By the time I got to the second episode, so per episode, they focused on particular players. And so the first episode was the kid. There was a kid, basically a teenager, whose mom said,
"Dirty, sweaty boys, riding."
Speaking of which, that mother has some serious issues around her son. She is obsessed with him. I got such red flags, alarm bells from that woman.
I'm getting alarm bells just from you saying that.
Yeah, I think by the second episode, when I was literally clicking ahead. This is how I watched episodes 2 to 5. I clicked ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. And I tried to be invested and they just couldn't hook me in. So, yeah, she was obsessed with her kid. I don't want to harp on too long about this, but it was really, really creepy. It made me think of how Meghan's going to be when Archie's old enough to start dating.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So there was that angle as well. They kept focusing on every family. There was another guy who now apparently is some controversial cheater and whatnot, and he dropped F-bombs like it was nobody's business, which... I don't know.
I'm going to come back to who's this show for?
Yeah.
So, because, he dropped F-bombs. All right. So,
It's clearly not for kids.
it's not, yeah.
It's not for families, right?
Yeah. All right. So, we've cleared that. So, okay, F-bombs. But then, is it for like prestigious people? No, not necessarily. I think prestigious people are too busy playing these sports than watching documentaries about these sports.
Yep.
Prestigious. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's no context for whether that belongs in this show or not.
This whole show lacks context. It's so random. You're thrown right in the middle of it. They're like a week out. I think initially it's a month out, or is it a week out from the US Polo, competition, tournament, whatever. It's just bad, guys. I don't know what else to say. In the final episode, Harry features because it was a Cesta Collective charity fundraiser tournament. And Meghan was there too. And she speaks to this polo player from Argentina, some, worldwide, global, I don't know who he is, but I don't follow polo, to be fair. Some really famous dude. And she starts speaking with him in Spanish. And Harry walks over and says, she's fluent in Spanish. Did you know? Did you know she's fluent in Spanish?
Oh my gosh, that is so cringe.
It really reminded me, it was severe throwback, deja vu, to when they were in the Lion King premiere 5 years ago, and Harry's telling the head of Disney, Bob Iger, did you know she does voiceovers? Did you know? Did you know?
Oh yeah. My goodness. It's like someone walking in here right now and going, did you know Pluto has a podcast? Did you know Pluto has a podcast? Like, what are you doing? If something is natural for a person, it comes out. You don't. Oh my gosh.
That's such a perfect observation, because if she was truly fluent, which let's all make it clear here, a fluent person wouldn't go all the way to Colombia and put in an interpreter, the earpiece to hear the English translation. That is not fluency. Mm-mm. We're not saying perfect accent. You can be fluent in a language and not have the perfect accent.
Yep. What was it? John Malkovich in that movie. I forget the name.
That beautiful French movie we saw.
Yes.
Which I also forgot the name, even though it was an incredible movie. Yes.
And then it was clear that he was like an Englishman speaking French.
But he was fluent.
Exactly.
So she is not fluent. And the fact that Harry had to say it,
oh my gosh,
to your point, just proves it. It's like, I'm such a good person. I'm such a great boss. I'm such a feminist. If you have to say it.
And repeatedly too. Over and over again. Let me hammer this thing into your head because I need you to know it.
So, 0 out of 10 for me. Honestly, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't even sit through it. So 0 out of 10, and I'm not the only one. So last I checked Rotten Tomatoes, it was at 13%. I think it's gone up since then, but barely.
Oh boy.
22%.
Normally, with Rotten Tomatoes, you find that the critics get the lowest score, and then sometimes an audience will love a movie even if it's bad. Yeah. Right? That happens all the time. The audience score is super low.
There is no critics score yet.
The critics didn't even bother.
I don't even know. I don't know what that's about, actually. Have they not watched it?
People who watch movies and series for a living have better things to do.
Yeah. It's terrible. Showing you these numbers so because people are going to be like, you're biased, you just don't like them. No, it really was bad. I have a couple of sample reviews. One from The Telegraph that graded it 2 stars out of 5. I think even that's very generous. Mm-hmm. It says, blood, sweat, tears, and bafflingly little Prince Harry.
Yeah, to the point, a polo player.
So that's behind a paywall, which I am not going to pay.
See you later.
I just wanted to read out the headline and the cut. Now, I specifically picked this review because you might all remember 2.5 years ago now, almost, when the cut put Meghan on the cover looking like she's about to chop your head off.
Yeah.
And it was a whole blackmail article, which led to my very first solo video, ever on the Meghan Markle. The blackmailer. Mm. So that was, to be fair to that journalist who wrote that article, she was very snarky, and she was very just read between the lines. I'm not a fan of Meghan.
Right.
But the cut in general as a publication is.
Which is why I'm really surprised reading this title.
That's why I wanted to show it. Even publications that are on Meghan and Harry's leash normally are saying
Harry and Meghan's projects can't stop flopping. Quote unquote, the cut.
Pretty much the headline.
Shills for Meghan and Harry, even they're off board.
Yep. And there's no need to read the body of the article. You get the gist.
Speaking of brain rot, what?
So yeah, another flop. It's funny because this is perfectly timed. My last video, The Coward, I said, let's review, because in 2023, she promised us a bunch of exciting projects. Let's review. And I said, Polo pending.
Yeah.
We'll be fair.
Yeah.
Add that to the list, people.
I mean, wasn't this meant to be her year of revival? And
No, that's next year.
It's next year now,
That's
isn't
next
it?
year.
It's next year until, oh gosh, yeah, it's one of those projects. Jeez, this is my year. No, it's not.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
You know what? If you have to say it,
Right?
stop saying it and get to work.
Maybe then things will finally change for you. Before we move on, people, just want to remind you that we have a holiday special over at Ground News. You get 50% off a Vantage plan to access unbiased news at check.ground.news/lostbeyondpluto. I will be linking the link in the description box. Check it out if you'd like a really hefty discount, valid for the rest of the year. So last week in The Coward, I mentioned an article that entirely influenced or inspired that video. And I read an excerpt from that article for you, but I left a whole bunch to save specifically for the podcast because I knew that I would have watched Polo by then and it would be on theme. Now, this article is from a publication called Closer Online. I don't know about it. Maybe it's a tabloid, whatever. It probably is because, they're putting out Meghan Markle stories, let's face it. But it says in the headline, Meghan Markle snubbed by Prince Harry's new friends. And I just was like, okay, here we go again. The common denominator problem.
My first question, Harry's allowed to make friends?
We're gonna look. I have a theory. I have a theory, and we're gonna get to this. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd just throw that in there. We'll answer the question as we go.
Yeah. So as they release their Polo Netflix show, insiders say Meghan Markle has been struggling to fit into Prince Harry's sporting social scene. So apparently Meghan has struggled to fit into this polo scene in the US because she's never bonded with the rest of the polo wags, the wives, polo wives, leaving her feeling snubbed.
Right.
Now, I remember reading similar stories a few years ago about how she felt, well, we all know she says openly that she felt snubbed by the royal family. She felt snubbed by Catherine in particular as well. She felt snubbed by Harry's friends, that have nothing to do with royalty. And what has happened as a direct result of her feeling allegedly snubbed, because I'm not saying it's true.
That's my thought as well, allegedly.
She might feel it. It's her truth.
Oh, boy. So not the truth.
But what's the usual outcome for when Meghan Markle feels snubbed?
Come on, Harry, we're leaving.
Exactly. And that's when my spidey senses were like, okay, she's not done isolating him. So what's happening apparently is she is trying to, I guess I shouldn't be paraphrasing here. It says, in relation to Polo being snubbed, like the documentary, and it's not doing well. And this is I have to stress people, this article was released around a day before Polo even dropped.
Right.
So this is all preemptive. That's why I called the video The Coward. She does this. She starts distancing herself from projects as they're about to release.
Because she knows they're going to go badly too.
Well, she knows, or she fears criticism. Even if the numbers do well, like their Harry and Meghan reality show.
Yeah.
The criticism was pretty intense. And she did the same thing with that documentary 2 years ago. She distanced herself and went, yeah, it's not really the way I would have done it.
Yeah, of course, Meghan. Yeah, just pin it on everybody else, even though she was probably there barking orders at everyone through every project. And they just like, well, we've got to listen to her. She's the boss. Yeah, that's what happens when she's the boss. The project flops. Let other people do the job, Meghan. People who know what they're doing and maybe have some social skills.
Exactly. So she says she understands that Polo is Harry's life. He put his heart and soul into this show and had huge hope for it. I'm sorry. Where?
Doubt. I'm
Yeah,
pressing the doubt button, right?
Press X to doubt. That did not come across. It may be true, but it doesn't translate. Prince William's documentary about homelessness, it came across how passionate and how genuine his concern for the cause is.
Because he's a genuine person. From the very beginning of that, because I caught the beginning of his homelessness documentary, from the very beginning, here is a man who's here to tell you something, not someone who's going to sell you something or wants to convince you of something that's not the truth. It's just, he's genuine.
Exactly. And he featured in it very heavily.
Yeah.
He was very hands-on with it. And that's what people want to see. He knows it. What's the point? I mean, with Prince Harry, if you really cared, then you'd know that even the Netflix executives were like, you're barely in it, dude. Why are people going to watch it? Everyone in that show, I forgot to mention this in my personal review, was an unknown. Some kid.
Yeah.
And then his dad barking orders at him. You're like, okay, but why should I care about you? What's your story? I don't know you. You came out of nowhere. But if Harry was involved in every single episode, maybe, I'm not saying it would have done well, but I think it would have attracted a lot more eyeballs.
I think what's really lacking here is the common theme is people ideally in a perfect world will come to watch this show because they came to see what Harry's doing, what he's up to, what's this world of his, a look inside his life. And then we don't get a look inside his life. We get a look inside everyone else's life. Yeah,
we got a Kardashian-esque show, which is really funny because I should have mentioned this in the review portion, but do you guys remember when the Kardashians were eager to work with Meghan and Harry when they first went to the US in 2020 and Meghan snubbed them?
Oh.
She went, nah, man, you beneath me. I'm royalty.
I think you just hit the nail on the head here. When she's saying she feels snubbed, I think it's a little bit the other way around. Remember, Meghan's a liar, proven liar. She does not tell the truth. So if she's saying that she feels snubbed, she probably snubbed other people because they weren't treating her like a princess.
Yeah.
Because they dared speak in a room when she's standing there and be a woman. I think that's probably the real story here.
Yeah, just like how, she says, oh, Kate made me cry, when it was the opposite.
Exactly.
But she snubbed the Kardashians, and now they're even better than her.
I think the Kardashians probably snubbed them, right?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I think initially, to be fair, everyone did want a piece of them because they thought they were going to be something. But
Kardashians are probably sitting there going, oh, we dodged a bullet.
Yep. So, sorry, back to this article. This is the point I want to get to. Now, Meghan's trying to be understanding at, Harry's heartache, because she wasn't an executive producer or anything. This thing bombing is not going to affect her in any way. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I gathered that. No, I was naturally pulling the face when it's like Meghan trying to be understanding. No, not buying it.
She doesn't even know how to.
She doesn't understand how to understand. She's way behind.
So she's somewhat relieved that it's flopped. This is, again, preempting it, okay? This is preemptive because she's seeing this as an opportunity to convince Harry he should put more of his focus on other hobbies. She'd much rather he spends his free time surfing and hiking.
Oh, she has to be in control. She's not in control when you go to Polo because he's already got the know-how. He already has the people. He knows what he's talking about. And she rocks up and goes, oh, I'm a fish out of water. Hey, you're coming with me. I don't care that you enjoy this. Man, not even in the same paragraph can she be understanding.
Right?
Not even, it's like, I totally understand, but stop doing something you love doing.
Yep. It gets worse.
Are you joking? How can it get worse? Let's go.
Have a listen. Obviously, she can't ban Harry from playing polo. Sorry, I beg to differ. I think she can.
I'm pretty sure she just did.
But it's no secret she'd rather it not be front and center in their lives, mostly because she hasn't really gelled. It's all because of her, right?
It's her.
She hasn't gelled with most of the wives, the wags, and she was expecting it to be this great social opportunity, but it really hasn't been, at least not for her.
My goodness.
She's not expecting him to totally move on from Polo, but she'd like him to dial it back and put his attention on other things. And the harsh reality is that it's more likely now because Polo flopped.
Can we we just save this article and present it to the judge during the divorce proceedings, please? You are stopping a man from doing something that he was doing. This is the perfect evidence to show that Meghan controls Harry. We all suspected it. There's other little tidbits here, there, and everywhere. Like, there was that one event where he was pulling a face. He was not happy to be there, and I think she was trying to put her arm on him or something.
Oh yeah, the UN.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like this whole, like, he's just done. He is so done with this. And now this is just adding to the pile. But she is so oblivious. She has no self-reflection or self-insight that she can't see how bad this looks. And
not only that, I'm getting more ideas now that I missed out in the review portion, but it's fine. It's the same episode. She pretended to care about the animals before with her fake veganism and telling Harry you can't go hunting with your friends. So I would have expected, instead of it being all about her, there would have been that angle of this promotes animal cruelty, because it does. Mm-hmm. It really does. These horses, not all of them are mistreated by their owners. We know Harry's horses are mistreated by him.
Yep.
We know he uses spurs on the sides of these horses and they start bleeding. We know that one of his horses or ponies was pregnant and died of a heart attack after a race. God. After he was told not to use her.
Yeah.
So Harry has a really horrible track record when it comes to animal abuse. And even in the documentary, I didn't see this personally, but I read from other reviews that the horses were being slammed against each other in the middle of the race. And it is cruel. There's no other way of putting it. It is cruel. And so I would have thought maybe that could have been your angle, your excuse at luring him away, from this sport, because you don't want him to do it anymore.
Play the humanitarian, pretend that you actually care about something other than yourself. But you can't even do that, because at the end of the day, the only thing Meghan cares about is Meghan.
This is what's concerning about this article. I just feel as though every time Harry finds a group of people that he has something in common with, because as you said, he's been doing polo for his whole life.
Yeah.
Basically, way before. Did you say that?
No, I didn't say that. Okay. But I kind of understood that this was something pre-Meghan.
Yeah, it's absolutely pre-Meghan. I mean, even his brother, Prince William, still plays it. Or I don't know if he still plays it. I think he has recently been playing it. So it's a fair assumption to make. But it's something that's clearly a part of his life. And she just wants to erase everything about him that is individual to him.
Yeah.
And just wants to mold him into this automaton shadow of a husband whose sole reason for existence is trailing around behind her. Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him carrying her handbag for her, because that's what he's been relegated to.
Which in any other situation, if you saw a man carrying a woman's handbag, you wouldn't think too much of it. But this is Harry and Meghan. This is what she does to him. She doesn't want a husband. She doesn't want a life partner. She wants a slave.
It's just insane to me, that paragraph where she's relieved it's going to flop. I mean, could this really be from her camp? I think it is.
Yeah.
Because it's all about distancing her. And I think she's so narcissistic that she doesn't even comprehend the optics of this.
Yeah.
She doesn't see it the way the rest of us see it, how selfish it is, how cruel it is to say, I'm glad this flopped because now I get to convince Harry that Polo, is not for us, and I can get to keep him to myself and isolate him even further, and no more Nacho. And Nacho's his best friend who, is also a top Argentinian player. And also a man who helped her promote her dog biscuits and her jam when Catherine was making her return to the public eye for Trooping the Color this year. He posted on his Instagram her dog biscuits and her jam.
Yeah.
So what happened to I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine? You're proverbially, I'm saying it again. I'm not gonna. You're dumping all over Nacho's life, basically. Polo is his life. After he helped you promote your non-existent products.
If you were within a 5-kilometer block of Meghan, your purpose in her life is for her to dump on you. That's it. You were there to be used and tossed and discarded. And Harry's not waking up and smelling the roses yet, unfortunately, because come on, buddy, it's right there. She's going to stop you from playing a sport that you've played your entire life. And she can't even say, like you said, she can't even say, oh, but the animals. She has to go, oh, but I got snubbed. Oh my gosh. It's like, imagine a wife getting angry that her husband is playing fantasy football with his friends maybe once a week, right?
Yeah.
Really simple, innocent thing. And then she's like, well, I didn't get along with your friends. It's not about you.
The thing is, I doubt it's even about getting along. I think what happens when she goes to these polo tournaments is that she is not belle of the ball.
Yeah.
These wives, especially Nacho's wife, Delfina, they seem pretty close. They're like walking arm in arm, interlinked, and they hug, and they're basically joined at the hip in these events when they're photographed by paparazzi. So it's just not adding up. The story's not adding up. I think she just can't stand being in the sidelines, literally, cheering on and watching Harry and not being the center of attention. And we can see this, that what I'm saying is not merely a hypothesis, but when they're presenting trophies at the end and she's wedging herself in between them. Do you remember a couple of years ago, she's wearing this big black hat and they're all like trying to pose with the trophy and she has to be, for those of you who are watching, I will be putting a clip as I'm describing the event, and she just has to get in there in the middle. That's what it's all about for her.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no one allowed to take a single photo at any event if she's not in it.
Yeah.
In fact, I know of someone like that in my own life who's been like that.
Ew.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's absolutely terrifying.
By the way, full disclosure, I don't know who you're talking about. You'll tell me later, but
give me wait 3 seconds, you will know who.
Oh, okay.
There's only one person that's that deranged who I know who would have done that. And my goodness, it's insane. You don't always need to be the center of attention, and if you do, you have severe problems.
Still don't know, but it's okay. I'm sure you'll tell me off camera.
Oh my gosh, you know who it is.
I really don't.
You
I
really
feel like
don't?
we have more than one person like that.
Look, honestly, we probably do. There probably is someone like that. But all right, who's number one pick of detestable behavior?
I think I know.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I think that's what it's about. I agree with you and agree with myself.
That's good. That's good. It's good to know that you
That's prime podcast hosting right there.
That's the worst, when you don't agree with yourself, man.
Before we close off this topic, there has been a conflicting message. Now, we're hearing, I didn't touch upon it today because I touched upon it in The Coward. So please go watch The Coward if you haven't yet. But that whole angle of Meghan distancing herself and saying, got nothing to do with it. It was the executives. You know, we had zero control over this thing. And so if it flops, it wasn't me.
Next one's going to be what jam?
Yeah, you're right.
That's next. What I didn't know that was
I didn't make the jam.
Oh, you know, that's an AI recreation of me in that video.
So Meghan and Harry's favorite mouthpiece, People magazine. This is what's confusing about this. It's like, do you even know what stories you're putting out there, Meghan? Or are you yourself so lost in your web of lies that you can't even keep track?
This is perfect.
You want to read out the headline?
Inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's vision for Netflix's Polo. They were extremely hands-on, exclusive. We know that's why it flopped. That's why it sucks, because they came anywhere near it. And the more they're involved, the more it flops. Now, granted, Invictus wasn't flopping before Meghan, so I bet we also know that Harry, had other people helping him with that. But yeah, I just love that it's People magazine saying that on the back of them going, oh, it's a flop.
It wasn't us, yeah. It's just insane how they just lose track of everything. So here it says the showrunner exclusively tells People they really had a vision for trying to get Polo to be accessible to a wider audience. Really? With all your flashy sports cars that most of us will never be able to afford. And to be honest, they're quite tacky. Even if I could afford one, I don't want one.
Yeah, not a sports
It was such an elitist show, Zach. It was such a rub it in your face. Look at us. We've got the money. We got the bling. We got the cars. Accessible?
Yeah.
If anything, they've confirmed to us as the common folk as the peasants of the 21st century, that it is absolutely exactly what we always pictured it to be. This almost in a different realm, you know, how they stressed over, oh my God, I have to travel twice a week while my wife's pregnant. We already talked about this in a previous podcast, so I'm not gonna.
You had to travel twice a week.
It's completely out of touch.
Oh, because you couldn't take a season off while your wife's pregnant. Oh, you poor Bobby. Oh, pinch your cheeks.
As if traveling twice a week is even a problem.
Yeah, like you don't have a choice. You have to play this sport. Like, oh no, was it on a private jet too? While we're adding to it, or did you take your luxurious sports car, which is worth like 5 houses?
It's so funny. Oh my God. I just read this now. The Duchess of Sussex, meanwhile, has been a supportive spouse and her husband's #1 supporter at his polo matches through the years.
Oh my goodness.
What did I just read 5 minutes ago then?
I'm looking at the sky is green, the sky is blue. My goodness. Which one do I believe? Oh boy. I mean, come on. If we needed any more reason to believe People magazine was a farce.
It's just insane. This is actually another version of brain rot. I can't read this anymore. But can you see the contradictions here? This is a woman who has freakish attention to detail. And she doesn't even know the narrative that she wants to put out there in the world. Does she hate polo and she feels snubbed and she had nothing to do with it? Or were they completely hands-on and she loves it and she's a supportive wife?
Maybe she put both articles out and whichever one did well, she was going to be like, oh, no, I didn't have anything to do with the other one. It's just the tabloids.
You know what? It's a joke, but you're spot on.
It sounds stupid, but here we are all these years later, and this is what Meghan does.
No, that to me is canon. That is what happened.
Yep, definitely.
Do you all remember how, as I mentioned in the intro and the agenda, that Meghan is a Dolphin investor? She invests in women-owned and led companies like Clever Blends that put lead in their coffee. And Cesta Collective now, where their tagline really was all about, you know, we pay our artisans, they call them their artisans, 500 to 600% more than the minimum wage, A tagline or, you know, a saying that they've removed actually from their website since Meghan attracted attention to their company.
Nice try. Is this like how Uber and Amazon were calling their employees partners so they didn't have to, you know, support them as employers should?
I mean, YouTube does the same.
You're exactly right.
I'm a YouTube partner. If I'm sick, if I'm out for 2-3 months, I'm done for. If I didn't have, you know, a career outside of YouTube. Imagine if this was the sole thing someone did. It's stressful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with this Cesta Collective, the Mail on Sunday carried out an investigation. This is what happens when you associate with Meghan Markle. What do you get? You get Markled.
Exactly. I like that. I like that so much. Have we said that before? Has someone said that?
Oh, getting yeah, I didn't make that up.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah, no, everyone's saying
that. Okay, good. It's in the public consciousness. Yeah. That's what's important.
I think it's part of the Urban Dictionary.
Oh my goodness. Markled. That is incredible. Anyway, speaking of getting markled.
If I had time, I'd look it up, but we got a tight show here. So the investigation has found out that this company, which sells its bags, we went through its portfolio, I guess, a few weeks ago. Thousands of dollars for a bag. It pays some of the women who make these bags as little as 10 pence or 20 cents an hour.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
They can earn, these artisans as they call them, in Rwanda, which Meghan said famously in 2016 when she was trying to ensnare Harry.
You know, this year I was back in Rwanda. I feel very connected to that country now.
That same country, these women are earning as little as 82 pence for an 8-hour day.
Not even an hour? 8 hours? Are you
Well,
joking?
It was 20 cents or 10 pence an hour. So 80 pence for 8 hours. Yeah.
That's even less because that should be 160 pence.
No, it's 20 cents, 10 pence.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. We're converting as we go. I need an Excel spreadsheet to understand this.
So And the article actually mentions, despite the company hailing them as talented female artisans who are the best in class at their craft, this figure is less than half the 1.70 pound a day the World Bank considers as the extreme poverty line.
Wow, and they certainly have the money to pay these people, considering that you have the digit ethic investing in your company.
Not just that, they sell, each piece is around $1,000 plus.
Yeah, and I bet the luxury market is probably flocking to it. Oh, it's a multi-$1,000 bag. It must be good.
Now, Cesta Collective denies this extreme poverty line comparison. It says that the earning figures take into account women's other sources of income. When they say, oh, we pay them really well, it's like, no, what matters is what you pay them.
Yeah.
Not what else they're making on the side. You have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. If someone has to work 3 jobs, then all 3 of those jobs are failing them, including you.
And so they say the World Bank figures are outdated and not equally applicable to all Rwandans. Well, guess what? The World Bank confirmed the accuracy of the figure.
Oh, thank you, World Bank. I love it when they're like, oh, that's too big of an institute. They're not going to refute our lies, and they just give them the backhand of doom.
That's what happens when you become famous, Meghan,
Yep.
because she used to lie through her teeth about everything. And no one would come out and, fact check her or rebut because she was a nobody.
Because she was a toddler splashing in the kiddie pond.
She was flying under the radar.
Yeah.
And she thought she could perpetuate her con on the world stage.
Man, she is such a con artist. My goodness. Except that she's not good. Con artists normally get away with things. She's not even good at that.
She said it herself.
I was such a fraud.
In fairness to Meghan, according to this investigation, her endorsement of this incredible in quotation marks, company worked wonders for its sales. But we're not saying that to praise Meghan. This is to confirm that they've been making a lot of money and they haven't raised the pay for any of their so-called artisans.
Why would they? Why would they? What obligation do they have to suddenly be good people because they had money? If you were good people, even when you weren't making great money, you would still pay the people creating your products. It's a really simple concept, but these people just don't understand that. And yet Meghan goes, I should invest in that.
Because she's shallow. And I want to get to that when we're wrapping up this topic. We'll talk about the takeaways from this. But here's what these artisans have to say when the Mail approached them and told them how much every bag sells for. So they were shocked at how much the bag sold for compared to what they earned and said they hope for a pay rise following this newspaper's investigation. Their meager earnings are deducted if a bag is deemed substandard. Some workers have to pay for the raw materials themselves and then cover transport costs to get it to their remote villages. You cannot make this up. No wonder Meghan's teamed up with this company. They're a match made in heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. Except they've been getting away with it until Meghan came along.
Yeah, right. That's the best part.
That's what you get when you get Markled. Suddenly all your secrets are out and everyone can see how much of a fraud you are.
It's just the best part. And finally, they are not full-time employees of Cesta and are paid by the bag. So earnings drop if orders go down. Now, I said just a few seconds ago that Cesta and Meghan are a match made in heaven.
It gets worse. I'm
speechless. So I guess I'll just read.
I'm already speechless. How can I be even more speechless? Hit me.
Cesta said, it is not involved in the process of setting the fees women get paid for the bags, and that it relies on all across Africa, a firm which oversees the work, to agree the prices in conjunction with the weavers. So this is yet again another, wasn't me.
Oh.
Who's the employer, Cesta? Is it you? Are they making bags for you? Are you selling the bags that they make? Or is it all across Africa? Don't you have a say? Don't you have a contract with all across Africa to determine the I hate this word. Remuneration?
It is a sucky word.
Yeah,
really is.
Come on, English. Just
chill for a minute. Yeah.
Don't you have a say in the remuneration that these women get to make your bags? I don't buy it.
If I walked up to my boss and I said, hey, I'm not getting paid enough. I need a pay rise. And my boss said, sorry, I don't decide your pay. What? You're the boss. You decide the pay. There is no way around this. If you are a company, you decide how much to pay your employees. It is as simple as that. And yet they think we're that stupid. They think that we are so stupid that we are just going to go, oh, I guess they said this other company takes care of it. Well, good. Now we've brought light into another company that doesn't want to pay people a wage.
All across Africa.
All across Africa.
If
next.
true.
Come on. Let's see who's next to be markled. Let's do it.
And you know, it's funny. You say it's time for all across Africa to get markled. I really hope that they are getting markled because they too seem to be cut from the same cloth. In a statement that they have released in response to this investigation that they've sent via Cesta, so Cesta has seen this too, they said that the weavers set their own wages.
Oh, yeah. They decide to get underpaid.
So now in the same article, we have Cesta saying we pay 500 to 700% more than the average minimum wage to these women.
Meh.
And then we have Cesta saying we don't set the wages, even though we just said that we pay them 500 to 700% more. No. We don't set the wages.
Meh.
All Across Africa does. And now All Across Africa says the women themselves set their own wages.
3 strikes and you're out. So basically 3 different stories in the same article. We didn't even have to go to People magazine to get the other side of this. This is ridiculous.
Now, why am I talking about this? I mean, obviously, because Meghan Markle has invested into this company. I'm not saying that she's running it, she's managing it. That's not what investors do. That's not their job. But you would assume that someone with her freakish attention to detail,
That's what I was thinking.
that she would have done her research, her due diligence, before investing into a company that clearly is lying or has lied in the past about how much they pay their staff. So much so that they had to remove the statement from their website and now have been exposed to actually be vastly underpaying their staff. And Meghan pretends that she's some angel golden dolphin investor who is there to empower such companies because they in turn empower the women that they employ. And this has happened before, back a couple of months ago in October when she visited a Girls Inc. event where she used people's children for publicity effectively. That Girls Inc. company was embroiled in a very severe discrimination lawsuit with an employee. And Meghan, who claims to be a woman of color, just associated herself with them despite these issues, which again shows you she is so surface level.
Yep.
She is so empty-headed.
Yep.
She has no idea what she's doing, who she's affiliating with, 0 research ability whatsoever, and 0 attention to detail.
Which means that she makes dolphins look bad because dolphins are actually smart.
That's true. Dolphins are really smart. So stop calling yourself a dolphin investor, please.
Yeah.
And just to quickly wrap this up, I just thought I'd throw in there that the article stated that none of the women involved, these artisans, even knew who Meghan Markle was.
They are blessed. Honestly, people who don't know who Meghan Markle was, it's a good life.
It's really a situation, in this instance, of ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, joke of the week.
Here we go.
Unlike last week, unfortunately, this isn't actually a joke. It's just an ironic, can you believe this shiz? It's funny, I watched Wicked.
Yeah.
And the university is called Shiz.
Oh my gosh. That's such a weird name.
It really is. It was weird. It was a good movie, though. So, we all know Meghan's background of alleged bullying.
Yes.
Specifically against women.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have had trauma.
Oh.
From that experience, right?
Okay.
Now listen to this joke. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry partner with Ashley Biden, Joe Biden's daughter, to empower women impacted by trauma.
What the hell? You mean they partner with Ashley Biden so that Meghan Markle can inflict more trauma on more people? The only way you stop women from being traumatized by Meghan Markle is lock her in a padded cell.
You know what? I gotta give it to her. Her audacity.
She is insane.
Her audacity,
on another
though,
level.
is second to, I don't want to say none. I know someone else with equal audacity.
Yeah.
And they're just as evil,
Yeah.
if not more. But the audacity of these people. I'm not going to read the body. It's People magazine. We don't want brain rot.
I mean, of course, it's People magazine.
But
Jeez.
can you? I think they donated $250,000. That's all I'm going to say, through Archwell.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Donated that amount to the women's wellness space. I wonder. You know what I wonder? I wonder, had Meghan been operating in the US, maybe everyone involved in this women's trauma space is someone who used to work for her.
Yeah.
And maybe she would be repenting by donating this money to, help them with the trauma that she had inflicted on them. Again, I'm saying this is all hypothetical if she had worked if she were a royal in the US, because all of her staff members were in the UK.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't make sense. The audacity. Okay.
This is the definition of speechless. I don't know how to. Meghan Markle is trauma. Sometimes looking at her face is trauma for me, and let alone being in the same room as her, let alone having her bark orders at someone, dictator in heels. She is a picture of her next to the word trauma in the dictionary. That's the closest she gets to the word trauma.
And does Ashley Biden not do her research? I mean, of course, she's not going to say no to $250,000. I get it.
But you know what? You should say no to $250,000 when you're getting it from a bad source. I mean, at this point, it's like blood diamonds. It's like, if the money's been tainted, then your principles should be like, hey, I'm not going to do this.
Oh, these people are all the same. It's like the Pat Tillman Award, where Harry got the award for some unknown reason. They're all just, hey, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. It's almost incestuous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The elites of the world, they have no morals.
Yep. And we can see that right now.
Yeah. I know nothing about Ashley Biden. Don't know if she's a good person, if she's a bad person. I don't know what her track record is, but I would wager to say that she's been markled.
I would think so, because if there was dirt, we're going to find out now.
And not just that, I think the name of her organization might get tainted.
I think so. I think everything that Meghan Markle's been associated with has been tainted.
That's exactly it. All right, everyone. That's all we have time for today. I hope you found the episode enjoyable.
Yeah.
And let us know, did you watch Polo?
Did you make it through?
I mean, I technically didn't even watch it. I have to be honest. The first episode, and then click, 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 and click, click, click. I just kept jumping through because I really couldn't. I'm a busy gal, and even if you're not a busy person, do not waste your precious limited time on Earth.
Yeah, don't do it.
Watching that disasterpiece.
Yeah, produced by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
I mean, that's all you need to say, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
I think that was it. That was the icing on the cake.
All right. I guess we'll see you next time then on another episode of The Plutonium Show.
See you then.
See ya.
Get hair out of my face.
You can
Between
do that in the
shots.
middle of filming because
I know, but
I'm sure they like it. I'm pimping you out. It's like the ladies like it. Do it.
no, they gotta see me on OnlyFans if they want to see that. Just that.
Are we gonna tell them we have an OnlyFans?